So I've seen pictures of what a hard drive looks like inside, but I've never actually took one apart. So here we have this old 4.3GB Fujitsu IDE drive. There's the IDE pins, power plug or the power socket, and here's the jumper settings for if you want to make it a master slave or whatever. This one says 51% on it. This one I tried to use several times and it wouldn't format past 51%, so I know it's broken. And we'll just whip all the screws out first. I chose this one as it has a raised case, so therefore it would be easier to see inside the drive wheel rather than one of the flat tops. I wouldn't suggest doing this if you intend to use your hard drive, because once you break the seal, it's dead. And now I need to go find something to cut it open. I'm just cutting the silicone away with this Stanley knife. Just need to be very careful not to cut through my hands. It's very well glued together. It's then that I realised that there must be another screw holding it together, hidden under the security seal. So this tiny little pouch here must contain some sort of silica gel to keep the hard drive dry inside. The single disc is very shiny and highly polished. Now we see it spin, and this is the actuator arm. On the tip of the actuator arm is the read-write heads. There's one on both sides of the disc. Bigger hard drives will have multiple discs and multiple read-write heads. So now we've had a little play with it, let's look at it in more detail. First of all, we have the disc, otherwise known as the platter, either made out of glass or aluminium. If it's aluminium, it's usually coated in oxide, and glass ones are usually uncoated. Then we have the spindle. It's basically just a balanced motor. Then we have the actuator, which is basically a magnetic coil that moves the actuator arm forward and backwards. The actuator axis, the actuator arm itself. If we look very carefully, we can actually see the read-write heads on the side profile. As we flip the hard drive over, we're going to look at the other side. This part of the hard drive is very much overlooked. When we trace back from the power input pins, we can see a little ribbon cable coming off the board, going underneath the board, which is supplying the power to the spindle. I couldn't tell you which ones they are, but these chips underneath the hard drive are usually for the cache, are kind of a short-term memory. The cache is very similar to random access memory, as it is volatile. So we should be able to follow the data path from the IDE port, through the cache chips, then through this set of ribbons here, and then follow the ribbon all the way through to the head of the actuator arm, and then to the read-write heads. This obviously works in reverse, with the data going from the read-write heads, through the ribbon, through the cache, through the IDE port, back into the CPU. I tried to take the actuator off by taking these two screws out, then tried taking the Allen key screw out from underneath the actuator axis, but nothing would fit. So instead I tried taking the Allen key bolts out of the spindle. On the back of the actuator arm is this coil, which would have sat inside this magnet. The magnets were so powerful I had to stick a screwdriver in just to keep them apart. Now I can see both of the actuator arms, but unfortunately I damaged the read-write heads. Well, this was fun. I hope you enjoyed the video.